Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So it's that time again. It is time for us to do our 1 minute book recs. This is where we go over all the books that we read in the past week with 1 minute synopsises for each book. But before we get started with that,
make sure you hit that subscribe button. We give away free books on our channel, and our next giveaway is at 1,500 subscribers, and it'll be those Calorie books.
Yeah, I'm excited to give those away. So, okay, tell me about your reading week.
I didn't read as much as I thought I read. I apparently only got 4 books in. And now Goodreads is yelling at me that I'm behind.
I really think Goodreads is a bully. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. It's a bully. Okay, so I listened to a lot of audiobooks this week. My husband was gone and I was doing a lot of things around the house where I listened to audio. So I read 16 books this week, but a lot of those were Ice Planet Barbarians that I've already talked about a billion times. And so I'm not going to go over those today. And one was a trilogy as well. So I'm just going to talk about that as one book. So I'm going to talk about 9 books.
Okay.
I'm
going to talk about my 4.
It's okay. I know you were busy too.
Okay, so you can start and we'll just go back and forth and then we'll end with the Jessica show.
You're such a brat. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, do you have the timer ready?
I do.
Okay.
Jessica.
Okay,
I do.
So before I switch over, this first book that I read, this is the one I was telling you about. It takes place in 1983, and the audio, at the end of the audio, it was like, thank you for listening to our historical book. And I was like, historical? How is that historical? I mean, I get it. But, you know, Mandy says I can't use that for historical.
Yeah, we're getting ready to do a historical romance video, and Jessica's like, can I use it? And I'm like, if you were to watch anybody else's video and they had a book that was set in 1983 in there, you would flip your shit about that, and just, you would not be okay with it, and you'd, like, that person would lose all credibility with you. So what is your problem?
She is not wrong. She's not wrong. But it said it was historical. Actually, we're not going to use it. I was just, Okay. Are we ready to talk? I'm ready to talk.
I hope so. You're long-winded today.
Sorry. Okay, so the first book I read, this crazy 1983 historical, is Return to Monte Carlo by Kate C. Wells. This is not a very long book, as you guys can see. It's fairly short. The audio just came out this week, or this month. I know it was this month. And so I jumped on this book. So this is about Diane and Marco. So Diane is this Southern belle, and she comes from a not so wealthy family, but she is from the South. And she meets Marco, who is a traveling businessman. He lives in Monte Carlo. His family is very wealthy. They have a whirlwind relationship and they end up getting married. He takes her back to Monte Carlo. His parents, his family, is a bunch of horrible people who judge her. They think that she's just in it for the money. They're very mean to her, which causes her to have a little bit of a meltdown and then up and leave Marco. And so he doesn't know where she's gone, doesn't know what's happened. There's other situations, there's other things that go home with her that she doesn't realize are going home with her. And Marco comes looking for her. So this is a second chance romance set in the 80s. And it's in Monte Carlo. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I resonated with it so much because of the situation that she was in. I could relate to a lot of those feelings, and it was so good. Okay. So tell me about your book.
Okay, well, Jessica, my next book is The Brazen One by Daisy Jane. And I read a couple of her books this week because we are actually going to have Daisy on our channel. So that author interview will be out on Wednesday, which is May 1st, if you're watching this at a different time. So it will be out on May 1st. We're very excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you about this book I read.
Okay.
All right, so this is The Brazen One by Daisy Jane. It is the second book in the Kinks series. So in the first book, we see this couple a little bit. So we see Goldie, who's Beck's best friend, and then Atticus, who's the one who really helps Bo through some of his benders, I guess, and they work together. So Atticus and Goldie are kind of thrown together because of their friends. And they are very much opposites attract, like beyond opposites attract. Also, make sure you check trigger warnings on this because Goldie's dealing with a few issues as well. So opposites attract. We then have some forced proximity that happens. They are all supposed to go up to a cabin for the weekend. The two of them get there first, and Bo and Beck can't get up there because there's snow and they get snowed in. And that's when things kind of start to turn for this couple. And then there's another forced proximity situation that happens. So they just kind of keep getting thrown together as their relationship. Uh-oh, my timer went off, Jessica.
Okay.
Sorry. So they keep kind of getting themselves thrown together. And of course, it's Daisy Jane. So it's going to have some sweet emotional sides to it, as well as some kink. Cucumber, anyone? Solid 4-star read right here. Highly recommend this series.
I read the first one because it was part of our convincing, the first book in that series. And it was so good. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of them. I want to hear about, I know you read the other one too. So.
I love how she just writes like kink into the book, and it's still like kinky and a little smutty, but it doesn't feel like you're just sitting there reading smut after page after page. Like her kink kind of surprises you and you're like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
What is this?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, okay. All right. I forgot to say that I had a DNF this week, and that is what my next book is, and we're going to talk about it. Okay. And it's a really widely popular book right now, but
and it's a DNF.
And it is a DNF.
Ooh, I am intrigued.
Okay. So I started reading Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is don't laugh. What are you laughing for?
Because this book has like tormented you for a while.
It has. I wanted to read it, and then I didn't want to read it. Then I wanted to read it. And I was in the mood for vampires this week. And I know our main female character, Misery, is a vampire. She is put into an arranged marriage with a family, the head wolf shifter family in this world. And they are supposed to hate each other. I was so bored that I was like, what the hell? I don't normally DNF books. Even if I'm bored in certain spots, I can get through it. I don't understand the hype. I do not get it at all. There is so much better out there. What the hell? So this didn't work for me. If it worked for you, cool, great, wonderful. I don't even need my timer.
Oh, sorry.
I clicked my. I was like, I don't need my timer. If it worked for you, that's awesome. But I need more. I was just so bored. So bored. So I DNF'd probably on the 30% mark. I was like, okay, I can't do this. So I didn't rate it because I DNF'd it. I'm like, there's no point.
So does that count as a book that you've read for the year?
I marked it as read, but I don't know if I'm counting it in my books that I've read for the year. Goodreads does. But if I don't mark it, then I, like 2-3 years down the road, I might not remember that I read it. So I don't know that I will personally count it. Because I don't want to have a DNF shelf. I don't ever want an author to come to my Goodreads and be like, she DNF'd my book if I love all her other books, right? Or their other books. So I know some people have a DNF shelf. I don't have
a DNF shelf, but I do have a couple books on Goodreads that I DNF'd and I didn't count as read for Goodreads either. And it just says DNF'd. And like one of them is an author who I love all of her other stuff, but I could not get into that book at all.
Yeah. So just right now it's just hanging out there. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know how I'm going to do that.
I was just curious.
I mean, if I read more than 50%, yes, because I've read, the majority of the book. But this was like 30. So I don't know. You can, it's just sitting there. I don't know what to do with it. On that high note, what you got?
Okay, next up I have The Only One by Daisy Jane. And this is with Delaney. And Delaney is, we see her in both of the other books. She is addicted to audiobooks, romance audiobooks specifically. So she is like kind of like the office manager at Wrench Kings, and she's always listening to audiobooks. And the guys are always surprised by how much she actually knows that what's going on because she's always listening to books. So let me tell you about it.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
So we have Delaney and Miller. Miller, we also see in the other two books. Miller is, I think he's like 26-ish, and he grew up in a commune, and he ended up leaving when he was a teenager. And when he left, he basically said goodbye to his family and has never seen them again, which is pretty sad. Miller is like the really happy guy. You'll hear Atticus and Bo talk about how like that sometimes gets on their nerves about how nothing seems to faze him and he's always so happy. And he is just really struggling with connecting with a woman and like starting that part of his life because he just really lacks self-confidence. And so Delaney is really interested in becoming a mechanic and she wants to start an apprenticeship. So she and him agree to help each other in these areas. So this is Femdom, and Jessica, my time's up. Okay, thank you. This is Femdom, so just FYI. So it's a little different read than what I normally read, but I still really, really enjoyed it. I actually rated it 5 stars because I love the whole concept of Delaney. And I love that she starts like coaching Miller based off of audiobook.
I love it. Like, I'm really excited to start that book. I want to read the other one first. But when we first met her, and is it the Wild One? Is that the first one?
Yes.
Yes, the Wild One. I was like, who is this? Like, I can relate to this girl, the audiobook part, not the femdom part, but I can relate on so many levels. So yeah, I want to read that one. I actually have it. I already downloaded the audio for both of those. So yay for me.
Yay for you.
Yay for me. So, okay.
Oh, I forgot to mention, Daisy Jane actually does on her audiobooks. I actually, because she's Delaney's audiobook reader, like addict, I decided what better way but to listen to this. And Daisy Jane actually does her own narration for her female characters. And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, she does such a great job. I really enjoyed her audiobook.
Yeah, I've listened to 2 of her so far that she's done. She always has a male narrator for the male. It's duet narration, but she's good. She's good. So
The Stray she does with Teddy Hamilton.
I know, I gotta listen to that one.
I can't believe you haven't already. I thought you've listened to like anything Teddy Hamilton has done. I'm pretty sure. And I quote, I would listen to him read me the phone book.
I would, damn it. I have it marked in my my wish list on Audible. I've had it in there for a while because he's on it. Like, I have all of his books in there. Anyhow, I am not a stalker. I am not a stalker. I'm not a stalker. I'm not a stalker. Okay.
All right.
On that crazy note. Okay.
That's going into the evidence file right there.
No. Oops. So I did a reread next. After the Allie Hazelwood debacle, I needed vampire, and I needed one that I knew was going to be good. You and I both love this book. So I did Until the Sun Falls from the Sky by Kristen Ashley again, because it's so good. So this is about Leia and Lucian. And so Leia she's human. She comes from a long line of women who have become food for these vampires. Like, they are like in service to them in the vampire community. They sign contracts. They get
concubine. That's the word.
Thank you. That's the one my brain just so short-circuited. Yeah, they sign contracts with these guys. They are normally with them for a certain amount of years, and then they go on and live their lives. But they get to be look a little younger. They get set up in nice homes, whatever. Leia doesn't want to do this. She hasn't wanted to do it. She's actually an older heroine. She's 40-ish. And she's put it off for a very long time. But Lucian's been obsessed with her for a very long time. He has watched her, and he will do anything to have her. When she becomes his concubine, like, he breaks all the rules because he wants to keep her. And that starts their love affair, and it starts a snowball of things that happen because there's repercussions to him changing the rules. So, loved it so much. It's probably like the third time I've read it, and I love it. So.
Okay.
All right. What else do you have?
Well, next up I have Cowboy Seeking Nanny by Janice Whitaker.
All right.
Okay, so this is about Clara. Clara leaves her cheating ex-husband, and she takes her son, and who her husband wants nothing to do with. So they're getting divorced. She takes her son and is going to go be a live-in nanny at a ranch for a guy who has twin daughters. And so she shows up there, and this is kind of like more like a family style ranch. Like the parents live there, some brothers live there as well. So this is setting up the first series. It's setting up this series. It's the first book in this series, called Cowboy Wanted, I think. I didn't write this down because I rated it 3 stars. Okay, I didn't really care for it. I didn't hate it, but I just didn't really care for it. So yeah, so she meets Brody. He works at the ranch, and he is the one, like, it's his family's ranch, and he has the twin daughters. And yeah, I was kind of bored, and it's not super long. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has high ratings though, so other people might enjoy it. Obviously, other people did enjoy it, I should say. It just wasn't for me.
Didn't. Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, the premise sounds good, but
You have a marked as to read in your Goodreads.
well, I'll be taking that out.
I saw that when I went to rate it.
Okay. Well, good to know. Good to know. All right. Okay. So the next book that I have to read is the trilogy. This was a reread, but we recorded a video last week that's not out yet, and it was about underhyped books, right? And this was in it, and I was like, I really want to do a reread because we're going to see this author at Rain City, and I just felt the need to do it. So we're going to talk about that. So that is the Cloister series by Celia Aaron. That is not the Cloister series. This is the Cloister series. So it is the Maiden, Prophet, and Church. We're just going to hold this one up. So this is about Delilah, or who we know as Delilah. She has infiltrated a cult because her sister, half-sister, belonged to this cult, and she had became a maiden the year prior, and then the authorities found her body. She'd been murdered, and Delilah wants to know what happened to her sister. And so we get Delilah, who gets she infiltrates this cult to be a maiden. The job of the maidens are they have to be virgins, they have to be pure, and the prophet will eventually, after a year of servitude, doing the things that the prophet wants to do, really getting indoctrinated into the situation, they're given out as brides to like senators and people high up, where the cult can use them, where the prophet can use them. So she infiltrates this cult. She gets assigned a shepherd, is what they call him, and that is where Adam comes in. He is her shepherd who's supposed to watch over her and make sure she does what she's supposed to do. And he is the prophet's oldest son. And things happen. He doesn't believe in what his dad is preaching. He doesn't believe in the crap that's being spewed out, but he has to. He's kind of like the authority, and he's his dad's right-hand man. But he wants out. So there's a lot of mystery, intrigue. This was 5 stars when I read it the first time around. It still is now. I love it. I cannot wait to see Celia in Seattle. I really hope she has like a special edition lineup of those. If not, I'll just take mine and have her sign. But still, I love Celia Aaron.
Okay.
It's dark, obviously. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. So check your triggers.
My next book is Someday by Emma Scott. This features Max, who was in Forever Right Now that I read about a month ago. And I really, really wanted Max's story. So,
Okay. So let's hear it.
yes, so excited about this one. So this is Max. Max is an NA sponsor. His story gets told a little bit in Forever Right Now, and then again, oops, I forgot the timer, and again in this story that of how he became an NA sponsor. And so he has come back to Seattle to try and repair his relationship with his parents. They threw him out of the house when he was 17, and they found him with a boy in his room. And they were like, nope, not under our roof, and threw him out. And so he has not seen or spoken to his family in 7 years. So he's back to try and repair that. Well, while he is there, he has a new job, and it is working for a very wealthy client. So he has to sign, an NDA, and he's the person's private nurse. Well, he is going to NA meetings, and he sees this, and he calls him hot Unabomber guy. And there's some attraction, and they have a few conversations, and he kind of feels like, well, we'll probably never see him again type situation. But guess what? He does, because Silas is actually the guy he works for's son. And Silas also has a pretty sad story. His dad is extremely homophobic and sent him to conversion therapy in Alaska when he was only 17, as I think he was 17. And so he has got a lot of trauma, and this book is very emotional. It's very angsty. I really loved it. I gave it 5 stars.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like Emma Scott.
Me too. I've just been binging through her stuff lately. Really enjoying her.
You
She will
haven't
also
read.
be at Rain City, which I'm very excited about.
You need to read her Between Hello and Goodbye. That's the one that takes place in Hawaii.
Oh.
Firefighter, Hawaii.
Okay. I just wanted to hug Max and Silas. Oh, and Silas has a brother who has Asperger's, Eddie, and Eddie lives kind of in his own world a little bit, and that it's explained a lot more, but he talks like he's from like Charles Dickens era. It's a lot of fun. So even though the book has a lot of heavy topics, there's some lightheartedness in it too. So highly recommend it.
Okay.
Okay, now we're to the Jessica show.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, so
are you? Why are you sorry?
I don't know, because I don't want it to be just the Jessica show. It's a Jessica and Mandy show. I'm hot, and my hair
I'm still here.
I know you're still here. You gonna listen? Smile. Okay. I was still on my vampire kick, and one of the books that we'd voted on for our buddy read for this month was The Filthy Rich Vampire by Geneva Lee Albin. Geneva Lee Albin. And so I wanted to read that. So I went and actually listened to the audio. I think Teddy has the audio on this one. I could be wrong. I don't remember. It was earlier in the week. So let's talk about this one.
You're just trying to throw the FBI off your scent by being like, I think it was Teddy. I don't know.
I think it was. You know what? What else? Okay, so this is about Thea and Julian. So Julian is a vampire. He's been a vampire for a very long time, and he has taken a nap. And his nap that he's taken is from like 1980 to present time. So he took a really long nap.
Now that restful.
What?
I said it sounds restful.
It sounds very restful. Now that he's awake, it is like the social season, like Bridgerton social season. And his mom is insisting that he gets himself a bride. And these vampires marry witches. Like they marry women who are part of the coven. And that is how they procreate. But they can also turn people, but that's how they procreate. And so he doesn't want to do this, but he's in his first gala, and he meets Thea, who is the cellist. And Thea has an encounter in a bathroom where she finds another vampire sucking blood from a human. And he stumbles upon that, and she's not freaking out, but he also can't compel her to forget. And so he's like, what is up with this girl? He's very intrigued. His mom's still breathing down his neck, and now she's in danger because she knows about his his world, right? Because she's human. So instead of like, I don't know, killing her or turning her or whatever, he decides that they're gonna fake date to get his mom off his back. I know it sounds corny, but I really enjoyed this book. It is the start of a series. It doesn't end on a cliffhanger. Kind of, it's a soft cliffhanger. It does not have a ends on a happily ever after. Let's put it that way. So you have to go into the next book. I have not done that yet. I'm gonna do it this week, but I gave it a solid 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I'm anxious to see what happens next. Okay. Gonna ask you about yours, but then I realized it was the Jessica show again. Okay, so gosh dang it, Mandy. So the next book that I had was a listen. It's a reread, but I'm gonna tell you why I had to do it. So I'll tell you and then we'll jump over. So I did Brutal Intentions by Lilith Vincent. The reason why I did a reread is I belong to Lilith's Patreon, and right now Brutal Intentions is being done as like a cartoon, like a comic.
Graphic novel.
Thank you, good Lord.
Glad I could be here to support your vocabulary today.
I know, I feel a little fried today, a little frazzled. Anyhow, that's happening, and it's getting ready to, the first half of the book is getting ready, like they're getting ready to jumpstart the Kickstarter for it, and I have been like following along with this, and I loved it so much. So I was like, I need to do a re-listen. Let's see if it's as much as as great as I thought it was, and it is, it's still good. So let's talk about it. So this is about Mia and Laz. Laz is Mia's stepdad. So he's been married to her mom for like less than a year at this point. She's 18 and her stepdad do not get along. He's actually younger than her mom. Her mom is 40. I think Laz is like 30-ish. But he had to marry her to get his inheritance, and he's got to produce an heir. And he does not get along with this woman at all. And he develops this obsession with Mia, and he's not very nice. He's kind of a bit of a bully to her, but they eventually form a bond and things go from there. But I mean, we start right out where he is like in her bed, annoyed, like torturing her, not torturing her, but tempting her. And she's like, why are you in my bed? So, I mean, that's like in the first chapter. So, Taboo, loved it. I mean, I would still give it 5 stars. Loved it so much. I love their relationship. He's this tattooed bad boy. And there may be birth control tampering in here. Just saying, he's got to have an heir. So, okay. Oh God, okay, next. I did an alien read. This is the one I was telling you about where the heroine's name is Mandy. So it was really awkward for me. Okay. So the next book I read is called Tamed. It's by Tana Stone. And this one was actually kind of fun for an alien. The guys are very humanoid. Like they're human, other than a couple of weird little nodes on their back. They're human. And so Mandy is our Instagram influencer who lives in Beverly Hills, and she's had her life handed to her on a silver platter by her father, and she has now been cut off. She really doesn't have any real friends. She's just this vapid, socialite, and she's realizing this is not fun anymore. And what she doesn't know is our government had made a they have a contract with these guys, these warriors who are supposed to protect our planet from crazy outside forces. And in return, they give these people brides because that sounds legit. And they live in this space station kind of thing that has a bunch of holographic abilities. So like, I mean, she thinks she's in Hawaii on a bungalow because that's what they made it look like. And so she is abducted because she has nobody. So she's abducted. She's taken there. She wakes up and she's on the dating game, like the 70s show, The Dating Game. And she's like, what is this? Because they use like our TV, like our shows, like The Dating Game and Say Yes to the Dress and that kind of stuff up there to understand what human women want. So there is some comedy there. Sorry. She's been forced to marry, not forced, but she's contracted to marry Dorn, who is a warrior, and he is not happy about the fact that he has to get married, but his brother's making him get married because the brother cannot carry on the family line. So it's arranged marriage.
I feel sorry for this Mandy.
It was really, really uncomfortable in certain spots.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I know you're not vapid, so it's okay. Okay. All right. Next is my Daisy Jane book that I read this week. You ready for that?
Yes.
Okay. So I read Where Violets Bloom by Daisy Jane. This is about Violet and Van, or Donovan. She calls him Van. This book, oh my goodness. Okay. I feel like Violet is like me, and this is how I would react in this situation. So Van is a police officer, but he has a little bit of a side gig where he attacks people and teaches them a lesson. But like when he steals from them, he leaves like their wallet around the corner, and he never really hurts them. He's just got some rage he's got to get out. He's got some
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. So one night he sees Violet at a park, and she's being dragged off by her dad. She has a crappy home life. She's in her 20s, and her parents are just, she has to live with them still because of an accident, and horrible things have happened. He sees her. He becomes obsessed with her. He starts stalking her. Then something happens where she's in danger, so he abducts her and brings her back to his house, and he's like, this is for your own good. I'm helping you. I abducted you to keep you safe. And Violet is like, okay. I mean, not really. She's not really like, okay. I mean, you can hear her inner dialogue, but she was like, but he's keeping me safe. You know, I was like, I would bow to it immediately.
And her home life, Daisy Jane does a great job of explaining her home life, so you truly feel for her and feel how trapped in the situation she is. It's not where you can, like, at least when I read it, I wasn't like, oh, but why doesn't she just leave? Like, it's thoroughly explained. I felt
she wanted to. There was just reasons.
Yes.
And she's a second grade teacher, so she's very innocent. He's not. I gave it like solid 4 stars. I really loved it. I really, really did. And you think, oh, captive, it's going to be, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. He does some crazy stuff, but just her, the way she accepted him, the way she accepted the situation, was like, well, I guess we could start dating. I mean, I was like, yeah, girl, go for it. You know, just saying. Wish my husband would stop me a little bit. Okay.
No, you don't. You're always complaining that Jeff won't leave you alone and that you can't get anything done.
Because I just want to read.
Bugging you.
Because I just want to read.
Okay, so you don't really want a stalker.
No, I don't. Because he already bugs me all the time. He's like, what did you do this week? What did you do today? I'm like, I read, leave me alone.
I was channeling my inner Jeff this week with you.
You were?
We have some things we're supposed to be getting done.
Yeah. My husband, it's worth noting, the reason why I read so much this week or listened to so much audio is because my husband was in Texas for the week and nobody was bugging me as to what I was doing, but I was having to do both parents' jobs. I'm not good at that. So, okay, my last book.
Of course not. You just put on your headphones and listen to audiobooks all week.
Hey, they're old enough now. They can take care of themselves. Okay. Well, plus I had the eye infection where I wasn't reading. I had to listen.
I can't hear anybody.
Noise canceling. Okay.
Follow us for more tips.
I know. I might have counted a book in here that is going to be talked about next week. I don't know. Because this is my last book.
Okay.
So if I'm off a number, guys, it's a crazy day. So let's talk about my last book. This is a book that Mandy and I now have both read.
Finally. I read this back in October.
I know, but I was waiting for the audio, and I got my audio advanced listener copy yesterday morning, and I was like, where are my headphones? My God, this book was hot. So you guys, it'll be out roughly in about 10 days. They don't have the exact date out yet. They said from from this coming Monday, so from the day this video drops, sometime within the next 10 days, this book will be out. So just keep an eye out for it on audio. The way their audio thing works, BJ's assistant was telling me the way it works, they don't have an exact date yet, and that's as of yesterday. So the audio is done by Stella Hunter and a new guy that I have never heard of, but he was good. And his name is Walker Williams. I don't know if anybody else has read anything with or listened to anything with Walker Williams, but wow, he was good. So the book that I read is Daddy's Addiction. Oh my gosh. Okay. So first of all, Becky, I had to pause this video and go find Jeff and be like, oh my God, guess what I just read? The kinks in this book. You weren't wrong, Mandy.
Wow. I told you.
And apparently the next one is going to be even crazier. All right. So this is about Tommy and his stepdaughter, Jade. So Tommy is spiraling. He is addicted to all sorts of stuff. And he is just, his life is literally all about the escorts that come into his house and the drugs that he's taking. He's a mess. So he was married. It was an arranged marriage. This is mafia adjacent. His family's a part of the mafia. We don't see a lot of mafia in this, but it was an arranged marriage. She was a widow, a mafia widow. And then she was a junkie as well. And she ended up dying, overdosing. And so he knows that he has a stepdaughter. He has never met his stepdaughter. He knows nothing about her because he really wanted nothing to do with that relationship that he was forced into. And his dad has been helping take care of the stepdaughter when she's home from school. So the dad's like, I have to go out of town. So Tommy's dad, his older dad who runs everything's like, I got to go out of town. Your stepdaughter's coming back into town. You're going to have to step up. She's going to stay with you. And he's like, whatever. So a girl comes to his house and he's like, yay, this is my indulgence girl for the night. This is my prostitute, wow. She's got the schoolgirl uniform going on, all the good stuff. And as he's like accosting her up against the wall in the entryway, the butler comes in and is like, your indulgence girl is here. And it is not that girl. That is your stepdaughter, sir. And things go from there. Oh my gosh, the kink is crazy in this one. I mean, I applaud.
Did you understand my concern for the mattress?
I mean, I understood your concern, and I would never do this. This is not my kink, but it was still freaking hot. So I just like to say, congratulations, Becky. You made me like something I never thought I would like. Okay. I gave it 5 stars. Oh my gosh. Like, blow your mind. Becky. I'm really scared for this next book. Let me just say, because this one pushed the limits. But the audio is, I mean, if you're an audiobook listener, listen to this. This guy, this Walker. Wow. So, I mean, and did you see, is it this one? Is it this book where she says to have your husband? No, I think it's the next book. Here's the warning, guys, if this tells you anything. I've skipped part of it. You're going to need to charge your toys, have your partner at hand, because Daddy Tommy is about to get you very messy in the best kind of way. That should be all you guys need to know. All right.
All right.
That's my week.
Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. And also this Wednesday for the Daisy Jane interview. We are very excited about that. And you're going to want to make sure that you tune in for that. Also, make sure you leave us a comment. Tell us how your reading week's going. Any new books that you read that we should be aware of, that you want us to read. Any books you're looking forward to reading. Just tell us all the bookish things in the comments.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.